Welcome to Theory of Conspiracy. Don't adjust your headset, you are listening to three northern lads from the UK talking about their own beliefs whilst challenging each other's.
Hi, I'm Andy the Skeptic.
Hello, I'm Carlos. I believe.
If you would like to support the podcast, please talk about this with your friends or give us a review on iTunes. You can comment or contribute at TheoConPod, that's at TheoConPod, or check the link in the podcast description.
We've had an iTunes review since the last episode, and the iTunes review is from Ash Manchester. That's the username. I guess it's a person called Ash from Manchester. And she says, great podcast from two fellow Northerners. As a Manchester girl, I love stuff like this. So that's a fantastic review.
Oh, thanks, Ash. I like that. Thank you.
Just what we want. We're trying to get the local Manchester crowd chatting about the podcast. So we were literally just saying that on the last episode. So that was great. Cool. That's it for the news, really, man. Don't have anything else for the final episode. Commander Kremen saying final episode. Yeah, we're having a break after episode 20, and then we're going to start season 2 in the new year, dude. So, yeah.
Listen up, this is the main bit.
This is the last episode for this season. Carlos, can you remember those shows when you were kids, like Starsky and Hutch and Buck Rogers in the 25th century?
I do remember him, sort of-ish.
Sort of. Well, to be honest, they were probably reruns when we watched them, but I've been watching loads of these on Forces TV during lockdown. And they've all got that one show in common. The Clip Show, I think it's called, is the technical name for it, where basically all the cast members sort of recall past events from previous episodes. So they just basically reuse footage that they've already shot. Well, tonight it's just going to be just like that. Well, no, I am joking. We're not going to start playing clips from previous episodes, but we are going to be reviewing our favourite episodes or other episodes we disliked. And I've got some curveball questions for Carlos, and I'll do my best to answer it myself as well.
And I don't even know what the questions are either, so you might catch me off guard as well. So, which I like them kind of questions as well.
We've covered a whole raft of topics from climate change to Corona, Mandela to MK Ultra, and backmasking to 9/11. First question, Carlos.
Yes.
Have you learned anything?
Yeah, massively. I've learned quite a lot, really, in terms of the way people research things, the way people put information out, how information is portrayed, which could be seen as misleading or trying to take you down a different direction. So, obviously, when we're researching certain subjects, or I'm just recapping on certain areas of, if we're doing a certain podcast and I want to recap on certain things, it's the way I look for information. So, yeah, I've learned massively over the last, say, year. We've been doing this since December, so yeah, I've learned massively. It's been eye-opening the way people portray information and how people put information out across different podcasts and different formats as well.
I was going to call you a skeptic then, but I'm a skeptic. But as a conspiracy believer, as a tinfoil hat wearer, it's not actually changed your mind on any of the topics we've covered when you've been on the other side of the tinfoil. It's not actually changed your mind, though, has it? You've said it's made you think differently, but you've not actually changed your mind. I've not been able to convince you that any of the stuff is a hoax.
You've not convinced me, but you've made me think different. You've made me more accountable for what I say or don't say. So if I put information out there, if I'm talking about things which I'm passionate about, or stuff that have come my way through different, get it through emails or get it through private messages. So the information, I thought, okay, is that correct, or do I need to filter that out, or do I need to research that a little bit more? But yeah, you've not convinced me, but you've made me more accountable, which I prefer that way, because obviously you challenge me in quite a lot of things through the podcast or when we've done the live streams on Twitch. So you've made me more accountable. And yeah, to answer your question, you've not convinced me, but you've made me think different, which that's all I wanted. The question I can ask you, what about yourself? Have you changed anything?
No, I'm not. So I think I'm wasting my time and you're wasting your time. But No, I've not really. Because I mean, literally, I saw a quote from Ricky Gervais, literally
Okay.
an hour before recording a podcast, and it's one I've heard before, time and time again. But he basically says, if you burn all the books now, all the made up stories, the religion books,
Oh yeah.
all that, they won't come back. The same stories won't come back in 1,000 years. But he said, science, you burn all your science books, science will come back, because science is repeatable. It's proven, it's repeatable. You'll always get the same numbers. Therefore, people will do the same experiments and come to the same conclusions and the same theories. He says, so if you're basing your beliefs on science, which is what I do, you don't need faith. Whereas all this other stuff, you need some sort of faith in it.
Yeah, Stephen Colbert, he was being interviewed. It's a really good answer, that one. Even the presenter was saying, fantastic answer, fantastic answer.
Also, something like literally a couple of hours ago, Nick shared a video. Hey, we still mention Nick, even though he's I was going to say no longer with us. He sounds like he's bit the COVID bullet, but he's not. He's absolutely live and well, absolutely fine. He's just a bit shy. But Nick shared a video with us, didn't he, about the moon?
Yes.
And I know you said, oh, I've made you think differently. But we saw these craft, and this came out earlier this year, and we saw these 3 spaceships traveling across the edge of the moon that someone supposedly recorded. And your answer was, yeah, it looks believable to me. Like, no, not even question it, not even. You saw it and just went, yeah, it looks all right to me. And then I literally sent you a link with like this guy just debunking loads of different angles on it. So, but yeah.
It's just a lot of people do debunk straight away. And I understand science has an answer for a lot of things, but I do think we are quick to debunk things which need question a little bit further. It's like it goes back to Roswell when they said it was did they say it was some kind of air balloon? Where they said it could have been a craft, and then 24 hours later they said it was some kind of air balloon. So that's obviously that's from 1947. Yes, I understand there's things out there we can explain sort of 95, 96, 97% of the stuff. It's that 1, 2, 3% we can't explain. And that's where scientists sort of stay away from that 3%. They just go, yeah, not for me. We don't have an answer for that. Come back again.
Oh, so okay then, Carlos. I can't, 20 doesn't sound like a big number, but it's literally taken us from the first podcast. We recorded the first podcast in December. It went out December the 24th. And we're now in October, man. The year's nearly over. We're having a bit of a break because I've got some time off coming up, and I've got a new job, so I don't know what's happening. I'll be all over the place for a little bit till I get settled.
Plus Christmas.
Well, yeah. Then you got Christmas and birthdays and things. I've got a lot of birthdays in October, and November and December. So yeah, it's times it's flown, but it also seems like it's taken absolutely ages just to get to episode 20. But do you feel like that?
Yeah, because it's for about 2 or 3 months we were quite quiet, weren't we? We're just doing like once a month, but then went from that June to sort of like September, where we're doing something like 2 or 3 a week. So yeah, we had that gap. Was it between sort of April to June? We were quite quiet, doing one a month, I think.
I think it was just to start with. We put the first episode out, and it was over 3 weeks before the next episode, and then we got into a rhythm of 2 a week for the audio podcast, and then in June we dipped our toe into Twitch, didn't we?
Twitch.
And then we were like trying to do Twitch twice a week and a podcast every other week, and it did feel to me like, oh, we're just not getting any time off, because you're constantly either researching something or looking for something to talk about, or filming, or editing,
or fitting. Because the first sort of like 3 or 4 months, it was literally, when we do the next podcast, and then from June onwards, we're like, fucking hell. I was like, Andy, it's podcast. I go, shit, yeah, give me 2 hours. Oh, Carlos, it's Sunday. What? Oh, yeah, it's this Sunday again. And that's the thing. It became like a second job, really, which I enjoyed. The researching was quite hard. It's
not a job if you're having fun.
Not true. If you're having fun, it's not a job. But it's just the thing I enjoyed the most is gathering information and then thinking, yeah, this is the one. I'm going to get Andy. I'm going to get Chandy on this sort of like. But clearly, you've not. You saw that. Yeah, it's not for me. Carlos, it's bullshit. Or I don't believe the moon's made out of cheese, and vice versa. I was saying to you, I was always saying,
Yeah,
Andy, what
yeah,
are you doing? Debunking everything. You debunk everything.
yeah.
But no,
Well, yeah, that's it. I'm like, I've got irrefutable evidence here. They can't deny this, and then, you and Nick will always have an answer for it. So, what was your favorite topic then?
I like the Operation Paperclip. That I enjoyed that one. MK Ultra, I really like that one. With
Okay,
mind control.
all right.
I like the backmasking. I found that was a
Yeah,
lot of fun. That one. Was it the psychedelics one as well?
yeah. There was a psychedelics one as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's quite a few more, but they're the ones that stand out for me. Really, really stand out.
Yeah, for the listeners, if they've not listened, and this is the first podcast they're coming to, they're starting at the end. See, end of season 1, not the end of the end. So Operation Paperclip was episode 3, Psychedelics was episode 8, Backmasking was episode 10, MK Ultra was episode 11.
Also, like the coronavirus was just interesting. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but they were just interesting. They were just hot topics, like the Jeffrey Epstein. It's not something like his favorite. It's just so hot. The topic was everybody was talking about it. So, what about yourself? Which one did you like?
Yeah, so for me, Carlos, it was definitely, I've got 2 favourites. It was Backmasking and it was the Mandela Effect. Backmasking, because it was fun to research and get all those clips and do that quiz that I did with you and Nick. And then obviously I was really actually proud of that episode because I edited those audio bits into the podcast and they came across quite clear when you listened back to them and stuff like that. So I'd really like that. That was a bit of like a technical win for me as well. But Mandela, that was really fun to research because it was like it's just one of those fun topics. So talking to Mandela, I've got another one that's come up, Carlos.
Which one's that?
So do you know the film E.T.?
Yes.
You must have seen this, right? Can you remember the famous catchphrase from the dude with the glowing finger?
E.T. phone home. Something like that.
E.T. phone home. Classic phrase. Never said it.
What did he say?
E.T. home phone. He never said phone.
home.
E.T. phone home. Yeah, he never said it, mate. Never said it. So yeah.
So we just corrected his English, didn't we? So E.T.
Well, yeah, you
phone.
watch it in the film. You watch it in the film, and you go, "Oh, what was he said? Oh, it sounds better." You know, he was obviously channeling Yoda, wasn't he? Mr. Paris says, "Is it a hobby or a passion?" I think it's a passion. Yeah, I think it's a passion. And just going right back to the start, don't you mean the run out of money episode? I used to hate those on American TV. Yeah, definitely filler episodes. Those weren't they? Just like literally like, oh, we've been contracted for 24 episodes. We've only got like 23 decent scripts. Let's make one up.
That's true. Yeah, that's true on them ones, especially the ones with your friends and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember any of them with friends, but I did see the Buck Rogers one recently.
A lot of people are watching the $6 million man? I can't.
Is that back on? I don't remember religiously watching that when I was a kid.
That was from the late 80s. Matthew, Matthew something or
no? Wasn't he the same guy out of the Fall Guy? Oh, someone in the chat room will say that.
Steve Austin.
Oh, Steve Austin. Thanks, Bobby. Steve Austin. Was he the same guy as the Fall Guy? I used to watch Fall Guy. Love that.
But that's what everybody's going back to that because with Elon Musk talking about Neuralink and obviously AI, a lot of people are going back to the $6 million man. $6 million man. That sounds like petty cash nowadays.
Yeah, Lee. Yeah, it does. Yeah, Lee Majors. That was the actor. Steve Austin was the character on it. Steve Austin was the $6 million man. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks, Mr. Paris and Bobby. Okay, next question, Carlos. What is your least favourite episode? Oh,
that's easy. It's Game Changer. That was the about diets, about veganism. that was the hardest subject to, because you and Nick are obviously you're into that kind of industry, that kind of subjects. I was looking into it. I just couldn't get my head around it. That's probably my least favorite. I think it was episode 2. I think it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
Game Changer.
episode 2, yeah.
That's the one for me. Yeah, that's probably your favorite.
It's not my favorite. I liked it. I liked. I hadn't watched. I was already a vegetarian, and so was Nick, and I hadn't watched Game Changer. And when you tell people that, oh yeah, you're a vegetarian, they go, oh, have you watched? Is it because you watched Game Changer? So I did like looking into it. But even though I am a vegetarian and want to use that to go, this is why everyone should be a vegetarian. I was debunking it myself. I didn't believe some of the things that they were saying. I think they were
Misleading. It was like, I think you and Nick told me to watch Cowspiracy and Game Changer.
They had an agenda, didn't they? The people making the film definitely had an agenda. So, I mean, the overall point is, as a species, we're eating too many animals, and the animals take up far too much room. Even this week, I saw someone else quoting stats about it on the TV, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Something like all wild animals take up like 4% of the earth, and the rest is humans, and which is, I can't remember what the percentage was, but the other percentage was basically livestock, and it was just stupid.
We are scraping the oceans as well. That I understand. We are completely scraping the oceans.
Yeah, definitely. So my least favorite episode was the 9/11 Twin Towers one.
On paper, it should have been out. On paper, it should have been one of our favourites, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Wasn't proud of the way it came across. Yeah. Sorry, before I go into this, I don't know whether to mention this. Yeah, Nick's no longer a vegetarian. I don't know, Nick. If you don't want that in the podcast, let me know. I'll take it out in the edit. Yeah, no, he's
gone back to me.
Started eating. Yeah, he started eating
cannibalism,
raw flesh again. Yeah.
Why? What changed?
I think he got bit by a zombie and it just turned him. That's why he's not been on the podcast, because he just goes brains. That's all he can say. Yeah.
That's interesting, because he was the one who really trying to convince me to get off flesh. It was really like, it was like, these people who knock on your door, these Jehovah's Witnesses, and says, you need to change. He was, when he used to drive back from your house, he'd be there, then sort of like be a 40-minute drive to mine. Those 40 minutes, he'd be just drilling me about how much meat I eat and stuff like that. So that's interesting, that.
Oh, he's right. Well, I'll have to take that mantle. I reckon he'll be back. He'll be back. I think it's difficult. I mean, I'm in the same position when you've got other people in the house that don't want to eat veggie stuff, even though it's perfectly fine. But there we go. Anyway, yeah,
the 9/11.
Yeah. It's the 9/11 Twin Towers. You're right. On paper, it probably would have been a really good debate. And in the past, me and Nick have talked for hours and hours and hours on it, and all my arguments, and I was ready and I was fully prepared for Nick to ask me all the stuff he'd asked me in the last 19 years. Not asked me, he'd thrown at me, shown me, to try and prove that the Twin Towers were some sort of explosive demolition. I had it all prepared to answer him and say why I think that was wrong, and he didn't want to he didn't ask me. I felt like I had to raise all these situations myself and then debunk them, and it just felt really weird, and it just made that episode, if you listen to it, the flow isn't quite right, and the atmosphere isn't right on it. It was just really weird. So,
well, so much so that I had to become sort of like, I won't say piggy in the middle, but I said, I'll chair this one, because I got the feeling that you two have been talking about this since 2003 or 4, or probably that kind of, because it's like you had unresolved issues. You just like, but I said to you,
they still are.
I said you. Remember, you saying to both of you, I sent that video 12 years ago. Have you looked at that video? I was like, do you mean talking 12 years ago? It's like, I thought, clearly there's something going on here. It's like there's an argument's been going on for literally, say, 15 years, and I thought this podcast was sort of put it all to rest, but it didn't. It actually made it even more muddier. And obviously, them two podcasts, you could just, like you just said, you could sense it in the way you were talking to each other, the way you're cutting each other off and go, no, listen, just give me, let me finish. It's like, I felt like David Dimble in the middle. It's like, it's like, okay, you control.
And
But
that is the real reason why Nick had to leave the pot. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. He's actually still here. He's talking to me and Carlos right now, but because I do all the editing, I just cut him out. So, again, that was a joke.
You can help support the podcast or keep in touch with the boys by following them on Twitch and subscribing on YouTube. Please check the link in the show notes when you get a moment. twitch.tv/TheoConPod. Now, back to the topic.
Which episode would you give to someone as a Christmas present? Just name one, not loads of different ones.
Here's one for you. If it was to like someone's parents, I'd say backmasking.
Yeah.
If it was someone who wants to think different or wants to something which is thought provoking, I say psychedelics because
I could have predicted that.
That was quite because we got a sort of insight into the way I think and what's happened and stuff like that. Whereas backmasking, that was sort of like, I won't say it's PG, but it's something easy that your parents could listen to. But the psychedelics one is like people, what? I think if correct me if I'm wrong, but it might have been Kyle who said, "Oh my god, I was walking around Asda, I had to make sure I wasn't high as in some kind of into the dimension and stuff like that." So even Kyle, I think it's Kyle, was saying like he loved that episode, but it was just literally it was quite trippy.
Yeah, and with your mouth, Carlos, none of them are PG. Because
yeah, true.
Swear it, and then also I start swearing when I get annoyed and stuff. So for me, you're probably right. Depends who it is. If they were into like sci-fi and aliens and stuff, I would probably say the Are We Alone episode, which was number 9. I think just to get the fun bit across, I'd probably say Mandela again. To be honest,
a couple of people like Flat Earth as well because they found it quite interesting the way we sort of tried to pick up some subjects. We're not flat earthers, but we tried to, I won't say trying to give them credit, but we tried to think why a flat earther would be created or where they get the information from.
Yeah, I must give you and Nick some credit. You don't believe in every conspiracy theory.
No, not every conspiracy.
Yeah. If you wanted to impress a lady friend, which episode would you tell them to listen to?
Definitely not the psychedelics one.
Oh no, I think that'd be a good one.
Something which is
it'd be Operation Paperclip with you, mate.
No, but that could be seen quite dark because obviously you're talking about Nazis and World War II. I tell you what, if it's something
but you want your lady friend to get to know you, and that's probably the best way, isn't
it? That's the best way, yeah. Epstein's quite interesting. The Epstein one we did.
Yeah.
Everybody loves talking about Epstein. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. Everybody talks about Epstein. Everybody's convinced he was murdered, didn't commit suicide, and obviously with Ghislaine Maxwell being arrested. So everybody's talking about Jeffrey Epstein at the moment. So I'll say the Jeffrey Epstein one.
I'm going to go back to the chat room for a sec. Bobby Shafter says my favourite was when Carlos went on one with the maths, waiting for the full story.
Yes.
What episode was that? I think it might have been the intermission episode.
Yes.
Because that was the first episode where Nick couldn't make it. So it's the podcast without a number at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Intermission. Yeah, you're right. Well done.
Yeah.
We just
in between 10 and 11. Yeah.
We're asking each other questions, and you asked me questions on 999 makes 1 or something, and I went, what? And it just completely sent me west. And that was a Friday night. Yeah, that's Friday. Well remembered, Bobby. Well remembered.
Oh, talking to the chat room, just got to say hi to Kay Devlin. They followed us yesterday. Hi, just found you guys. Keep up the good work. Cheers, Kate.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Paris as well was. He's mentioned a few good classic shows as well from earlier. Littlest Hobo, yeah, proper remember that. Really sad music.
Yeah, I remember that. That really threw me off. I don't even want to think about it in case I go back into that kind of.
You start crying.
You start crying again. To the people, listen, I'm not going to say I give you the semi-skin version. I'll probably give you the skinned version. And I was telling Andy, Nick, and I was telling my sister, I'll have to I'd probably talk about it later on, but not now. But yeah, it threw me off. The journey lasted about 8, 9, 10 hours probably, the journey. It was long. It was hard. It's the first time in a while I was shit myself what was happening to me.
So if your headstone read, the lad from Theory Conspiracy who famously said ... what would it say?
Carlos Garcia, buried alive. That's what I'll probably read. What did it say?
Something you famously said on the podcast.
Oh, I always say,
Have you?
correct me if I'm wrong. I always say that. No, it's just one of the things with the podcast. It's like, because you're free flowing and you're saying things. And with the live stream, we've had to completely adapt. With the audio, we've said things where I think, Andy, do you remember that 12-minute section? Delete it. Do not mention that. I seriously don't. I'll be. And then Nick said the same thing. You've got, obviously you're quite calculated, but there's things where I've said. He said, Carlos, you really want that in? I went, no, yeah, take it out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I get to listen to it. We'll go into the technical bits anyway, but yeah, I get to listen to it about 4 times over before it even comes out because I'm editing it. So, all right, last curveball question, then I'll get back into some more sensible ones. Right, you can only choose from one of our season 1 episodes, and with it, you can convince the world that your side of the coin was right. Which conspiracy would you choose?
I'll say, are we alone?
Are we alone? The aliens.
Yeah, the aliens.
Yeah, I want aliens to be real. I just know they're not. So for me, we mentioned it earlier, the 19-year battle I've had with Nick over 9/11 and the towers. I would say it was that, just to turn Nick to, get Nick to take his tinfoil hat off and wake up. He'll be saying the same about me right now. I would have said that, but the fact that Corona and the anti-Corona stuff and trying to debunk that over, we've covered it 3 times. Who'd have thought when we started recording this podcast, COVID wasn't even a thing.
Didn't even exist in
wasn't
December.
Even it might have just existed in China or whatever.
Yeah, correct. In China,
but it wasn't in the news or nothing. We weren't aware of it, and then it literally, maybe the podcast started it. I don't know. Maybe we made the podcast out of bats or something. But so for me, it'd be that now, just because we're at the height of this. Everywhere you look on Facebook, people are denying it, and that's I don't know, because I'm tuned into it. That's all I'm seeing, and it's really annoying me. But it'd be that just to get people to go, look, we're all in this together, sort it out, and stop being stupid.
The coronavirus, it's either you're correct. It's either you believe it or you think I won't say it's a hoax, but you don't believe it. And you get some powerful people on both sides, and that's the thing where the information is so. I won't say it's muddied the information, but it sort of contradicts itself. And we've got people like Donald Trump and Boris Johnson, 2 of the most powerful people on the planet, and people don't trust them. They don't have any credibility, and that's the thing. Why people do believe Trump, and that's why in America it's probably still the highest death rate in the world. England, are we still top 5 death rate in the world? England, I know we're the
I'm not
highest in
sure.
Europe.
I've since all that, I've refused to look at any numbers now. I'm trying not to get into it.
I know we're the highest in Europe, so we're probably top 5. So that's the thing where you got 2 of these imperial countries, and they are completely misjudging what's happened with this virus. And obviously, all these current lockdowns on businesses, we'll be seeing a huge recession over Christmas time as well. So that's why people are sort of pissed off. They're losing their livelihoods, they're losing their jobs. So people are completely annoyed.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the leadership just cares too much about what people think about them, and it's caused them to make a lot of wrong decisions. They should just get on with it and tell people the truth. Yeah, that's why there's so much mistrust. Always, has been for a long time. I've got a COVID answer for this next question, to be honest. So, what I was going to ask you, would you have done or said anything differently in hindsight? So I would have just said, my last words on the COVID episode would have been, don't focus on things you can't control. Just focus on the things you can.
That's all you can do. And the thing is, the message is to most people listening. The most important thing is your health. Obviously, I know people are worried about the jobs, the homes, and putting food on the table. Totally understand that. But the one thing people don't talk about really is staying healthy. And that's the thing. A lot of people have been affected because of their diets, or they're not exercising as much. But I think that's the bit I would say to people: just look after your body better. The way you're eating, the way you're exercising, your mindset. That's the thing. What I tell people differently.
And we're all the way back to Game Changers.
We'll go back to Game Changers.
Watch what you're eating. Watch what you're eating. Yeah, I hinted at the technical stuff earlier. So yeah, technical stuff. I mentioned to you a couple of months ago, I think it was now, and I mentioned it just before we started. I said I was going to bring this up, and you said, "What was that again?" So Easter eggs in the podcast. We've got some Easter eggs in the podcast. And you're like, "What's an Easter egg?"
Yeah, what is it? You might have told me, but I might have forgotten.
Easter eggs. The term comes from where computer programmers used to hide little things in computer programs, even in things like Microsoft Excel. You used to be able to put codes in, and you could get like a flight simulator, like a very basic, but a little flight simulator in Microsoft Excel, and you could get all the programs to do things. And it came from, I think the first one ever came from a game where you literally found this little egg and it did something. I can't remember the details of it. I think they mention it in the Ready Player One film. I'm pretty sure they reference it in that. I might be wrong. Yeah, thanks, Mr. Paris. He says Ready Player One. We've just been raided by Jonesy. Thanks, Jonesy, for the raid.
Thank you, Jonesy.
And Kay Devlin says my son loves finding them in films. So yeah, it's basically something hidden. Films have loads of them. So one famous film I can think of is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. If you look at the ship at the end of the film, you have to turn your head upside down, but you can actually see R2-D2 stuck underneath. So it was a bit of a joke between the two directors, between Steven Spielberg and
George Lucas or something.
George. Thanks. Should have been on the tip of my lips. And George Lucas, yeah. So, Easter egg I'm thinking of is when you hear Carlos say, "My name's Carlos and I believe," you can hear a little jingle.
Hello, I'm Carlos. I believe.
And it's quite sad, this one, because that is that's my cat Cassie. She died just before lockdown, actually, but she was 21-year-old, so she had a really good innings. But like I say, we came, when Nick and Carlos came round in December to record. I think we came round and we just discussed the podcast, didn't we? And then the next time we came round, we actually had a go at we actually go at recording it. And at the point you were recording that, I think she jumped up and sat on your knee or something, and the jingle is just still there. And every time I hear it now, I just go, "Oh."
Because you just said the cat loves you, Carlos. She kept jumping on my lap, and I would say, you said, "Be careful, she's 21 years old." Oh, shit, I don't want to sort of nudge her or kick her by accident, so I was wary where she was all the time. And then every time I speak, she would move, and obviously the bell sound would always reverberate every time I spoke. But yeah, you told me, and I started listening to it. Yeah, it's there. It's there forever.
Yeah, once you know about that, you every time at the beginning of the podcast now, every time you hear Carlos's intro, you go, "Oh, there's a little jingle there." You know that's Andy's cat now. So I was going to chat about some of the technical stuff. I don't know if this might be boring, but things like when it just comes to editing. I mean, now we're doing this live on Twitch. You get a feel of behind the scenes, so you'll hear us rambling, you'll hear us do retakes on certain things. And then if you do listen to the episode back, and you'll realize what difference and what sort of work goes into the editing and stuff. But yeah, literally. So if a podcast is about 50 minutes long, it normally takes me about 2 hours to get through that edit. So the 1.5 hour podcast, I think we record. We had 2.5 hours worth of material that I condensed down to 1.5 hours, which included sticking jingles and things in it. And it took me well over 6 hours. Well over 6 hours to edit that.
So you do it over a week or something? Literally, probably doing a couple of hours each night and stuff like that.
No, but we got it out quite quick. I think we recorded it on the Sunday, and I think I got it out on Thursday.
That's great. Yeah, because we did it on Sunday, and all systems crashed. We had to do it again on the Monday, didn't we? So yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't. That's why we didn't finish recording till Monday. Yeah, we had a bit of a technical glitch. So
Bobby just said 3 men and a baby, a ghost of a boy hiding the window. Yeah, he's right about that. Yes, do you remember there was a ghost in the background?
Yeah. Is that an Easter egg? Because I think that's one of those accidental ones where they're not actually put in. That wasn't purposely put in. I think that's one of these.
People have just caught out.
Yeah. Another one of them is, where the stormtrooper comes in on A New Hope, and he comes in on the droids and he bangs his head. The door goes up and he comes in and he bangs his head. But yeah, I think they're more accidental ones. But yeah, that ghost in 3 Boys and a Baby. In 3 Men and a Baby. Yeah, it's a bit weird, that one.
because that was the same era when Poltergeist was about, and people used to talk about Poltergeist and stuff like where they were seeing things in certain films. So I think I can remember. I was a kid then. I was a kid. So I won't remember it too well, but I do remember that period where people were spotting certain entities or certain dark in films, and people say when Poltergeist came out, people was talking about things where the characters, so the actors were on there, things were happening to them, and then people started moving on to other films as well. So I think that I don't know if it's all connected, all that. I can't remember.
But definitely, it's on the list for season 2, isn't it? To look at conspiracies around films and stuff. So we'll definitely bring that up. So Kay Devlin says Disney do it all the time. There's loads of different characters from other films. Yeah, Disney slip little scenes in as well. You get like Toy Story characters in other movies and things like that. Yeah.
There's one video I watched where it's quite a horrible thing to say, but when Disney were talking, so all these videos with Disney, but then they started mentioning sexual contents in their films for children. I'll run it by you before I upload it onto our social media. But I've got a video someone put like because it's about 8-minute video. They show all these clips of Disney videos, and it's sort of like clips. They say the word sex, or it's like a penis shaped in the clouds, and it's all kind of like, and people are just saying this is the way they're trying to sort of trap children into sort of like paedophilia rings and stuff like that. But it's in that 8-minute video, there's probably about 50 different videos on it.
You'll have to save that for the
for next season.
For Epstein Part 2.
Yes.
Carlos, then, how long do you reckon you spend researching these things, or do you not? Because I'll speak for Nick, because he often tells us, and we often joked about it before we recorded, but Nick literally just used to come on the podcast and wing it every single time. Fly by the shirt of his pants, basically, but if that's the saying, I think I've just merged two sayings. But yeah, how long do you reckon you spend researching?
Well, a lot of these subjects I've known about because I've read books on them, so it's perfect for me. So people have always said to me, "Why reading these books, Carlos? You're never going to talk about it. You're never going to study it." I found it fascinating. So most of these subjects we've talked about, I knew about. I've read books on them. I've watched documentaries on them. I've spoken to people about. The only one I struggled with was, you mentioned Game Changer, but all the others I just topped up on my knowledge. So I've read I don't know how many books I've read, but I've probably hundreds and hundreds of books on different subjects. So yeah, a lot of these I just top up on. But yeah, if it's a subject I'm not sure about, I need to top up. I could spend 2 or 3 days looking at it, even a whole week sometimes, every day, 3 or 4 hours every day on my phone, or traveling to work. So yeah,
at a minimum, I have to get a night to go through some of the stuff. Again, a lot of these things I've talked about with other people previously, heard it discussed elsewhere. So I've just gone and refreshed or looked at the research again, just so it's fresh in my mind before we talk the next night. So the backmasking one, obviously that was a lot longer. I was ripping sound files from places and reversing them and preparing them just for the recording. So
there's hundreds and hundreds of things I want to talk about, and that's why we've got season 2. We've got a list of all the things we want to talk about, and obviously what people ask us to talk about as well.
Yeah, one thing we have to sort out for season 2 as well is the storage and bandwidth situation as well, because we don't know what's going to happen with that. At the moment, we're coping with bandwidth, but if we get a spurt of people joining the podcast, I don't know, it might run out, and we have to do something about it. So.
Hope there's an offer, a Black Friday offer or something.
Oh yeah, a Black Friday offer or something like that. Yeah, because we're already on a paid tier as well. So the other options is we archive these podcasts. I mean, they're all available on YouTube anyway, and basically we just record like a little 1-minute intro to say the podcast's been archived. Go to YouTube to listen to it maybe, and that then frees up the storage and hopefully the bandwidth as well for season 2. So. Yeah, I think we just need to address that issue when we start getting issue. Yeah, address that issue when we get the issue. Reviews and messages really help us and get us noticed and get other people to find the podcast. Word of mouth is the key. If you know anyone that's into podcasts, why not recommend us? Also, reviews are absolutely great. Even bad reviews are good. They keep us motivated and keep us going, basically. It makes us feel like we're actually doing something that people want to listen to.
The boys will be back after these short messages. You can help support the podcast or keep in touch with the boys by following them on Twitch and subscribing on YouTube. Please check the link in the show notes when you get a moment. twitch.tv/TheoConPod. Now, back to the topic.
Bobby, are you still on? Because you asked us a question the other night and we couldn't answer it. So now is the perfect time if you want to ask us anything. You want to... I can't remember. Do you remember what your question was about?
He said, "Do you like full moons and stuff?" And I said, "Yes, I like the full moon." And then mentioned that there's a harvest moon coming and also the hunter moon. But yeah, it was actually just it threw me off. I thought, what a great question! I think it's when your systems went down. I sort of answered it in the chat room, but I don't know if it's sort of like if you got the answer. The face,
the face has changed. Oh, the face of the moon, has it? I haven't noticed that. I look at the moon all the time, because I see it through the back window all the time because it's south facing. I love absolutely looking at the night sky. Did you know? Talking of 2020, the next full moon, Carlos, is the 31st of October.
Yes.
Which is Halloween.
Is it?
And it's 2020. And we know what year this has been.
So it could be
vampires, werewolves, the lot. Ritual sacrifices.
Here's one for you. So do you think lots of people now are sort of putting documentaries out on regarding alien invasions and are we alone? Do you think the government are slowly drip feeding information to make an announcement over the next 6 months to a year? Slowly drip feeding information?
Nah.
You don't think so?
No, we mentioned that on the Are We Alone, Aren't We? Where people, I mean, someone pointed me at a COVID thing, some video where, oh, Andy, if you don't think COVID's a hoax, watch this video. And I watched it, and at the start of the video, the guy was referencing the thing that I debunked, which was the Pentagon have made an announcement about unearthly spacecraft or something or other. I can't remember exactly. You'll have to go and watch the episode, but listen to the episode. But I was like, nah, I've pretty much debunked this. The Pentagon have said nothing of the sort. Therefore, the rest of the video you're about to say is obviously also going to be bullshit and badly researched. And you're just repeating stuff that you've seen on the internet.
Bobby Shafter just said regarding the moon, have you noticed any full moons in the last 6 months?
How many bright full moons in the last 6? Yeah, I agree, Bobby. There has been a lot. It has been noticeable. I think. I mean, is lockdown helping us notice these things? Have we had fortunate weather on the days that we've had full moons? I mean, because your full moon's over 3 or 4 nights sometimes. I know it's not full, but to the naked eye, it's pretty much full. So
that night, Bobby mentioned it. It was a full moon that night. It was a full moon.
Was it? Yeah. You know what Britain's like for looking up. I mean, I keep getting alerts on my phone about the ISS going over. I've gone outside and gone, oh, it's cloudy. Even though the app says, oh, tonight's a good chance of seeing it, and it's clear. We've gone out and gone, no, we're not seeing anything. It's clouds. I notice it in the day a lot as well. It was on the school run. Not this morning. Yesterday morning, and it was. Or was that when it was really raining? Whatever morning it was, where it wasn't chucking down this week. Blue sky and the moon. So I like seeing it in the day as well.
In the comments in the chat room, should say they're saying that the cycle affects people's moods. That's correct. That's where the word lunacy comes from. Lunatic, lunar. So yeah, you're right. That's why it does affect people's. I'm not a scientist. I'm sure there's people who can sort of explain it, but for some reason, with our forefathers and ancestors have always said the moon does affect people, and yeah, that's where the word lunacy and lunatic comes from. Yeah, that's correct.
That probably goes back to that was Kay Devlin that said that. That probably goes. Mr. Paris also says, yeah, don't hospitals also report more incidents when there's a full moon? I've heard that stat as well. So yeah, could be true.
Do you think it could be some kind of gravitational pull or something on people's energy?
The moon. You know, our tides are because of the moon.
Yes.
You know,
so
our
like one
bodies
big giant
are.
ladle, isn't
it? Our body are 98% water or higher, whatever it is. So, yeah, maybe it does have effect. Yeah, who knows? There you go. There's a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. I don't know. Maybe it is. There's one I'll get behind. I won't debunk that until I go and look at the science.
Something to do with energy.
Nothing to do with energy. I'm not on any. No, energy and wavelengths. No, I'm not having that. Oh, what about here's a moon one for you guys. Here's a moon one. Apparently, if you put two objects outside, and it's a full moon, or there's moon and the moonlight, and one is in moonlight, and one is not in moonlight, so it's in shadow. The one that is in moonlight is colder than the thing that's in shadow. There can be two identical objects. They can be 6 inches apart, except you put a piece of card up over one, so it's in the shadow of the moon. And apparently, don't know how true that is. I don't actually think that is true. I think possibly the reason why the one that is not as cold is because when I have seen them do it, they don't just stick something up. It's something up and over it. So it's completely like covered over. It's not like touching it, but it's like in its own little shed or bus shelter. And obviously, if you have got any heat, the thing directly over it's not that it can't penetrate, but if you've got any residual heat from the day on the object that's not covered at all, that's just going to rise up and go into the atmosphere because heat rises. Whereas the one that's covered, it's like if you were to stand under a bus shelter, Carlos, you'd be warmer than if you were stood outside the bus shelter because A, it's protecting you from some of the wind or breeze, and B, it's trapping some of that air from going up into the atmosphere.
That makes sense.
So,
that does make sense.
Yeah, so that's my personal thing on it. But that's interesting that there was people trying to push that as if to say it meant. I can't remember what they were saying. It meant something to do. It was flat earthers. It was something to do with this is proof that the moon is a projection and it's projecting light at us, but the light is some sort of cold ray and the sun is some sort of heat ray. And it was like, oh, shut up.
No, but it's actually what you just said there. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Move on that one because I've never heard about that. I've never even read about that, but the way you've explained it makes sense. So yeah,
Carlos. Don't Google it. You're going to go down a rabbit hole.
The group says something to do with energy, and Bobby says, if it can move the oceans, I'm sure it can give your blood a bit of a tingle. Yeah, he's 100% correct. No, it can do because we don't know the nature or science can't explain anything, or not anything. So science can't explain everything. And there's certain things we just can't explain. We just can't explain.
I've got another little Easter egg I've just thought of, Carlos, and that is all our outtakes and stuff at the end of the podcast.
Oh yes,
we didn't have them on the earlier ones, did we? So yeah, I wonder if people apparently with podcasts apparently a lot of people never listen to the end. Okay, Devlin, have we done the Mandela effect? Sorry if I'm late to the party. Yes, we have. 10 was backmasking. Mandela effect was either 11 or 9. One sec. Oh, it was episode 7. 007 Mandela effect. Yeah, you might enjoy that one. But yeah, definitely backmasking. A lot of people go, backmasking, what's that? But I think that was a fun one. So backmasking. It's back BACK backmasking. Backmasking is where you we couldn't think of another name for it. That's what the
terminology
the industry call it. But it's basically where musicians record music backwards and sneak it in. So you get hidden messages when you play the record backwards. We go a little bit into the history and we've got some good examples of it. But also, I play them forward on the podcast as well. So some of them are decent tunes. Carlos particularly likes the Britney Spears ones.
Yeah, they were good. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Led Zeppelin, they were the obvious ones. But yeah, the Britney Spears completely threw me off. But I like Britney Spears. Who doesn't? Yeah, but yeah, I do like ones.
Stick around for some bloopers and outtakes, and if you have enjoyed this, please give us a like and subscribe.
Oh no, I'll have to. I have to work in some kind of science lab or something. People doing experiments on me or something like
that. I thought that's how you were born.
No,
you're a bit like Homelander, aren't you? Out of The Boys.
Violet.
5.
22.
5.
18.
25.
15.
14. 5. White.
12. 15.
22.
5.
19.
Green.
1.
Yellow,
3, 15,
14,
19, 16,
9, 18,
1,
3,
25. Red,